Hold on. We are live, folks. Welcome back. It's Reap the Harvest. Matt, getting busy. How are you, buddy?
What's up, man? I feel like I just change it up a little bit, do a little dance, get the
Right?
mojo, uh, instead of my normal, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, let's
No,
do this. So you had to you told me you wanted to talk about discernment today. I'll be honest, folks, I had to Google the word. Not afraid to admit it.
it's all good, man.
So
It's all
break it
good.
down for the people. Break down for the people what you want to talk about with discernment.
Yeah. No, what I wanted to talk about today. So I just been thinking a lot of lately about discernible thinking. If you don't know what discernment means, basically it's just being astute and being very attentive to really good quality thinking. So if you don't know the exact definition, look it up in the dictionary, but I just gave you kind of abbreviated. But discernible thinking is really, whether it's on the spiritual side or, I tend to more lead towards the spiritual, right? But no matter what side you are, it requires a decision. And I want to give just an example. I think it was really cool listening to Mark Batterson, a while back, and some of the words that he had brought into play was just decision fatigue. And decision fatigue is so huge, and that's why it's so critical to make really, really strong decisions throughout the course of your life. And so that's it. I'm in the process of really just making quality decisions, and I'll go deeper into some of the decisions that I'm making, and then how I basically break those out as far as like the way I'm living. But one of the things I wanted to provide an example of was just decision fatigue. You'll see that I wear a lot of gray shirts, black pants. I got that from Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs, he didn't want to decision fatigue. He realized that he made very, very strong decisions, and by like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, he didn't want those decisions to be wasted on what he was wearing that day. Now, I like looking nice. I do have various things. So it's like my color palette, but a lot of times, like in a given day, you'll see my wife. I got that gray shirt, white shirt, black shirt, pretty basic. Don't like any whole lot of writing on it because I don't want to make a decision. I think that I have better decisions, more important decisions to make later in the day, and that I have to use very, very discernible thought on. For what I wear, really not extremely important to me. I am a shoe guy though, and I love shoes. But I mean, it's just that's not what's most important. And so I want to make sure I'm gearing my mind so that I can make strong decisions later in the day, more discernible thoughts as far as what's important. So I want to capture the really, really strong decisions a little bit later in the day. In the morning, I don't need to worry about it. Right? Get up, take a shower, put on some clothes, and then get right back in the day. I shouldn't be like, oh, should I wear this or should I wear this? Because then I've already made 5 decisions before I get into my day. I just want to get into my day. I want to abide. I want to throw on some clothes, and I want to make some strong decisions later in the day. But he gave an example of it was really cool. Judges, right? So decisions actually a ton of them suffer from decision fatigue throughout the day, and what you'll see is that a judge will actually have a little bit more leniency on people that he sees early in the day because he's able to create discernible thought and actually digest all the information and then I'm going to give this guy 5 years on something that maybe deserve 10. I don't know, but he gave just the example is that later in the day when you have decision fatigue, that discernible thought goes away when it gets closer to lunch because they're constantly making decisions that are going to actually impact the rest of people's lives. And this is not anything on judges. My wife works for judges. She's a staff attorney on the criminal side, so she's constantly absorbing information and then regurgitating that to the judges, and the judges actually make the decision based off of that. She works on the appellate side, so that is, I guess now, in my thought process, I wouldn't call it in my DNA. My wife, she's more on the legal front, but I thought it was interesting, and that in the mornings that decision fatigue is already starting to create by the time lunch hits, and then once lunch hits, they eat, they drink, they hydrate, they rest, and now they're into the second half of the day, which once they get past lunch, they're a little bit more rested, and they're able to create a little bit more discernible thought, which then leads them into a little bit more discernible thinking, by the end of the day, these guys are getting, if you're coming in there for maybe a traffic violation, you're getting something a little bit worse. Or, that's on the civil side. In the criminal side, if you killed somebody, you might be getting life instead of 15 years. I don't know. It's something that I thought was a pretty good example, is that there's that decision fatigue, and you just really need to make sure your mind is sharp and on point. And what does that look like for our life? And as I'm going through this, creating my vision and my mission, and that's obviously really big to me. How you can be discernible in that process. So discernment is so big; it's so key to make those really discernible qualifications. And I was listening to a guy the other day, and so I just thought it was really cool how he broke it down. So he had 4 questions you ask. And this could be, on the spiritual side, or this could be just like in regular everyday life, right? You're going to have to like go through 4 questions that would require, okay, is this an opportunity for me or not? And you have to discern whether it's a good opportunity or a bad opportunity, or a relationship or whatever it might be. But the number one thing he said, is this a good or neutral door? So treat everything as if it was a door, and whether it's open or shut or neutral. And so for me, I thought I was a pretty good basketball player growing up. I'm like, I can go to the NBA. I'm going to be a D1 athlete. I'm going to play ball somewhere. Unfortunately, that door was shut for me. I didn't make it. And it was one of those things where that I had to discern whether proceeding in the game of basketball was the right direction for me. Looking back, maybe I should have gone at it a little bit further, but I didn't. And you also have to treat those doors. Okay, learn from past failure or past mistakes. So be vulnerable to that, and then how are you growing from it? But is it a good door or is it a neutral door? Establish what is a good door or a neutral door. So I think of it in terms of qualifying people, right? So as I raise capital, so I'm in the commercial multifamily business and commercial real estate in general. So we do a little bit of self-storage. We do for commercial multifamily, and then we also raise for some of our single family residents, but mainly our focus is on commercial multifamily. So that's our kind of main strategy and main vertical. And the others actually create revenue sources from that as well. But so we raise capital for some like certain initiatives. And when I go in, there's basically 3 different, criterias when you meet with somebody. So I shouldn't say criterias, but like when you meet somebody the first time, it's a relational piece. Like you're gauging whether they're a good fit or not. So you got to gauge, you got to be discerning whether they're going to be a fit. Because I can tell you right now, if you're raising capital, not all money is good money. So you definitely want to make sure that you're seeing the synergies in the blend with somebody when you're raising capital, or whether it's a relationship. With my wife and I, early on, quite honestly, I maybe wasn't even a good fit for her. So I'm glad she actually pushed through that. But we just have come together. We've galvanized that, and right, that was a door that, quite honestly, might have been neutral or good. I don't know. I really didn't decipher it as well as I do it today, but I decipher that really well in how I'm engaging my relationships and whether they're going to be good for me or not. So, and even when I'm raising capital, right, that's raising money is a thing where you have to gauge whether it's going to be good money. I call it good money. But whether that person is going to be in a good relationship with you, and you definitely have their backs, and you're preserving their capital and getting the returns that you said. So as we project, like those are things that I look for. I first meet and see if it's the relational piece. The next step is maybe I'm going to pitch to them. So I'm going to pitch them our current offering and what that looks like. And the third step is that once I find out their palate. Then I can go really into the deep analysis of stuff. So, and whether they do want to invest. So it really takes 3 different layers to engage with somebody in the raising capital side. But I like going in life because I treat everything in life first. I think John Maxwell calls it, there's no such thing as business ethics. There's either ethics or you don't have ethics. So with this, that keeps my ethics in line, right? Of how I'm approaching relationships. I want to make sure that they have the same morals and ethics as I do when I'm raising capital, and even in my house, right? That people that I surround myself, what I call my tribe has my same values, has my same core values that are going to empower me. Not that I'm better than anybody else. If I don't put you in my inner circle, but I just want to make sure that I'm surrounding myself and not being too comfortable. You also don't want to be comfortable, but that's part of the door, right? That having discernible thought in your process. I use biblical measures for me. So I really use my time of discerning, of really trying to gain stuff out of the Bible, and then also reaching out to people that are ahead of me spiritually, financially as well, that they, good decision making, rising tides lifts all boats. So if you seek those people out that are ahead of you, that can empower you to make good, strong decisions, that's just one of the things that I'm always asking questions. And better questions lead to better answers. I think that is just one of those things where you start asking questions and they might seem very rudimentary at the beginning, but I'm telling you, keep asking questions. You're going to get better and better at asking questions, and then you're going to get better answers. So I'm spending a lot of time on number one, but is it a good or neutral door? Check it out. It might be a very obvious door that door's closed. For me, my NBA ambitions gone, but the one door of opportunity that I have in my businesses right now is just creating, cultivating relationships. But I have to be discerning. Every time I engage in a relationship, I have to be discerning. Is this a 5 and 10 year relationship? I tell my guy this all the time. Like, I'm not looking for a 30-day, a 60-day relationship. I'm looking at a 5, 10, 15 lifetime long relationship. Like, I think in terms of that, I don't want the day to day. I want longevity in our relationships. So that's how I look at it. And you should too. So is it a good or neutral door? Number two, is it a clearly an open door? So if it's an open door, and then you go to 3. If it's an open door, yes, it's a clear open door. Like, you go through this door. Is it a wise door? So you want to ask in your discernible thinking, is it a wise door? Am I going through this door where I know that on the other side, it fits my core values, fits my buckets, fits all that, and is going to stretch me to grow? So I'm always in growth mode, always learning from other people. But it is a wise door. Just check it out. Like, the word wisdom, we're always seeking wisdom. The man that has understanding is deep waters, and we have to pull it out. We have to constantly pull that out. So ask questions, whether, that's the wise door to walk through. And then we have free will, right? As man, we have the ability that we can make decisions for ourselves. We can go wherever we want. It doesn't matter. And is this a door that I want? Is it a passion? Is it a purpose in my life that when I go through this door, I know it's a good door. I know it's an open door, and I know it's a wise door. Then, is this a door that I want? And I think go back to terms of, like, is this 5, 10 years out? If this is the long-term vision. I think, for me, even as much of, a couple of years ago, probably like 3, 4 years ago, I think at, about 27, 28, I really started, my mind started churning a little bit more. I wanted to learn. I feel like I became a student at that age. Like, it took me that long to become an actual student. And I go back to even some of the things, we're always taught in school what to think, not how to think. And I think that when I engaged at 27, 28, man, my wheels started turning, and I began understanding of, like, how to think and how to engage with people and how to really grab on and be just a student of life. And everything is hinged on now leadership and how we're asking these questions, how we discern, and how to lead people. So I just wanted to encourage everyone today, as you go through the course of a day. I try to limit my thinkings on things that really are not important, and then really start hyper focusing on what things are, thinking at a deeper level, and really being discernible in whatever decision that you have to make. For me, it's creating. I said number one, creating that vision, but then ultimately having making sure things are fit within those core values. And that allows you to actually go through the process of these really 4 steps on creating doors of opportunity for yourself, but being very discernible in that process and making good quality, smart decisions. So I just want to encourage everyone today, you're going to make some bad decisions too. It's just like the nature of life, but creating, be discernible in every moment that you can. and really just be clear of like when the decision fatigue is actually taking place. Because Pat and I were even talking today that this Corona care is just killing us. You know what I mean? It's killing a lot, especially with 3 kids. It just really causes you discouraged. My wife's working today, so like I'm really with the 3 kids. I'm actually sneaking away right now. I'm actually we're at home shooting this, but the one thing is really just even when things get a little cloudy, to be very intact with that decision making process, and making sure that you're almost cognizant of when decision fatigue is taking place, because that's a very thing. And water is always a good source. It's always a good source. When you stay hydrated, you feel a little bit better. So I encourage everyone to drink water. Lots of water makes the brain operate a whole lot better. So I encourage everyone to drink a ton of water.
Very true. And I think that I don't know if this goes along with it. Like I said, I had to Google that word. I'm not Mr. Vocabulary, even though I'm really good at making words rhyme. Doesn't mean I always know what they mean. But like this morning, I spent a lot of time, with the kids and stuff. But then I was trying to get new sound wedges in. I just didn't get it done in time. So doesn't that kick in? Like, is that really the most important thing this morning, or is it more important that I spent time with my kids? It's probably way more important that I spent time with my kids, but I'm beating myself up. Yeah. Because on the back end, and we were talking about that this morning too, it's like schedules are flipped upside down. The kids can't really still necessarily go anywhere, and other parents aren't letting their kids play with other kids yet, at least in our neighborhood. And we live in Texas where, they're opening back up and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, we're trying to take as much action as we possibly can, man, and grow as much as we can. And that's why we started doing this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, instead of, just a couple times a month doing podcasts. We'd rather communicate with the Facebook and YouTube audience and the podcast audience way more, because there's a lot of shifts happening. Everything's moving quicker now. So we've got to, I don't know if that's the word, discern how we're going to approach all this,
Critical thinking. I don't know. I mean, you could use a number of different words, but
you entrepreneurs and your big words.
Discernment, man. Discernment. So if somebody doesn't know what discernment is, man, Google it.
The ability to judge well is what it means.
To get your vocabulary. Yeah.
Matt just wants to sound smart, and that's from, it says some kind of Christian context, so it's probably in the Bible somewhere. So I'm sure I'm sure some of our Satanist fans from Twitter will really appreciate this episode too.
Maybe we'll go some of the word of the day or something like that a little bit later on. We'll be like starting to add like ubiquitous in our vocabulary.
Oh, Brad Lee roasted me on that one on his show. It was good. Yeah. But anyway, ability to judge well. Sometimes what you need to get done, I needed to spend time with my daughter this morning, but you have to put off some of the things you want to get stuff done that you need to do. I think that the ability to judge what those things are is important. And sometimes it's spending time with your kids, rather than making sure that the freaking studio wall looks perfect. The studio wall looked perfect on Friday.
It looked perfect. It's going to look beautiful, bro. But I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's always positive. It's always beautiful. Relationships matter. I thought that was an important thing you said, too. I got a lot out of that.
Cool, man.
And never want to forget that Matt married up.
You got it. Matt married up.
Oh, man. Beautiful.
Man, we here at Reap the Harvest. Appreciate your input, Pat.
Yeah, man.
Be sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Official Matt Tech. You'll see some stuff there, too. But love spreading positivity. So be positive. I'll tell you what, it's nourishment to the bones. We out here. Peace.